Hey, what's up YouTube? Mr. Chris here with Infotainment.com. We got our 2020 Jeep Wrangler here again. We're gonna do some updates on the front and rear bumper. We're swapping out our stock sport bumper to a Rubicon bumper. Now, this is the same bumper that we previously swapped out the factory halogen fog light bulbs to match our recently swapped out headlight to all LED. If you have a Sport, a Sahara, or Rubicon with the factory halogen bulbs, we can help you out with that. We can get a LED conversion for you as well. But for this install, we're going to be swapping this bumper out just to get a little bit more of an aggressive look. Now, we're in Central Florida, so we don't have any kind of front license plate laws, but maybe we can get a cool infotainment license plate in there or something. After the front bumper, we're going to do the rear bumper with rear parking sensors as well. So let's get into the install. All right, so we're gonna start at the front bumper, and it's a pretty straightforward, easy uninstall, reinstall. There's just a couple of clips up top here. We don't have that filler piece in between our bumper and our fender, so we don't have to remove that. It does give us access to our clip, our connector in here for the wiring. It's ran for both of our fog lights. Then we have a series of clips up underneath here that is holding this plastic shroud on. A couple of 8 mils, and once we get that shroud off, there's a metal, it's almost like a splash guard underneath there. And we're gonna pull that off just so we can have better access to the 8 bolts that are holding the bumper on. There's 4 on either side right behind here. So yeah, let's get into it. All right, so we're gonna start up top here. There's just 2 clips. You can get up in here with a flathead with and pull that out. I'm actually gonna remove this piece once the bumper's off on the ground, and I'm gonna swap this over to the new bumper. But for now, that's all you're gonna be concerned with is these 2 clips. All right, now we can move underneath. All right, so up underneath the Jeep, you have this plastic splash guard here. There's a series of clips running all the way down in between the bumper and the splash guard. You gotta pull all those out. And then in these 2 indentations, these divots here, you have an 8 mil on either side. Once you get all that off, this whole splash guard will come right off. If you got a dirty Jeep, make sure to wear that eye protection. All right, now grab your 8mm socket and pull out these 2 bolts holding this splash guard off. All right, you can set that out of the way. All right, now that we got our plastic splash guard out of the way, we'll remove this metal guard. It's just 2 16mm bolts on either side. Pull those out. Should be able to pop this up and out of there. All right, and the reason you remove that is to gain access to the inner bolts holding your bumper on. So basically you're removing that metal guard so you can gain access to these inside bolts here on either side. You have 2 on the inside of this frame channel that you're trying to access. So that you don't have to pull that off, but that just gives you a little bit easier time to reach these 2 inner bolts. And these are all 18mm you have, or 4 on either side, 8 total. All right, before we go and remove the 4 18mm on either side, I'm gonna unplug our fog lights here. There you go. So unplug this and you'll be good to go. Now we can proceed with removing the 4 18mm. All right, so went ahead and grabbed our 18mm deep socket, and I put a swivel on mine just to make it easier for me. So when I put my impact in there, I got some room. You can do this pretty easily with hand tools as well if you don't have an impact. But you can see how that swivel just aids in fitting this impact in there. right, now we'll jump to the driver's side and do the same thing. All right, now we can pull the bumper off. There's nothing else holding it on. So, might take some wiggling, but it should come right off. And it's not super heavy. You can definitely do this by yourself. All right, now that we got our old bumper off, we have our new bumper here. You can see our new bumper is missing this kind of a filler plate for in between our grill and the bumper. So I'm gonna transfer this over. Pretty simple also, just a couple of clips running all the way down. We'll pop this off and we'll install that onto our new bumper. All right, now we don't need this bumper anymore. All right, now what we gotta do is line up the holes on the back of the bumper, and we'll put our clips right back in there. All right, now we're ready for reinstall. We'll hang the bumper back on our frame rails, and we'll throw all the previously removed 18mm nuts on the back side. All right, you just gotta give it a little bit of elbow grease and your bumper will be in. Now we can go ahead and put those 18mm nuts back on. All right, now we can put our metal shield back on. And there's a couple of protruding metal hooks sticking out of the back of it, and it's just going to hang up there, 2 slots, just like that. Now we can put our 16mm bolts right back in. All right, now we can grab our plastic splash shield, and you're going to want to slide it up into position, and basically in these cutout notches here, that's where the clips are gonna go. So as long as you line up the holes up there, you can push your clips back in. All right, and as the last step, make sure you get your 2 clips back in to the top holes in your frame rails there. These holes can also be used when you're lining the bumper up to kind of have a place marker to get the bumper back on straight, so you're not kind of fighting with it. All right, that concludes our install. As you see, we got our Rubicon bumper up here, gives us the red accents in here, kind of ties in with our Rubicon wheels and headlights, and also ties in with our red interior pieces that we installed in a previous video. That is also a nice touch, I think. But yeah, that concludes this video. For upgrades like this and more, check out Infotainment.com.